Oh boy, what should we go with first? Cinema or gallery? How about we go back to jukebox and choose a track to play in the background and to give my thoughts. I like this track, so obviously I'll go for that. Right. Thoughts on this visual novel. Will it still play? Okay, good. Let's go back to library. Never mind. You bastard! You tricked me. I thought the music would play the whole way through, but now we switch back to a song. I mean, it's a nice track and all, but I like this track better. I wanted to like look at the freaking, you know, go over that and just like see the scenes again, you know, not actually click on anything, just kind of like browse what it says about the scenes. I mean, I already did that, but just kind of to refresh my memory. Emmy's route was the first route, then it was Rin's route, then it was Hanako's route, then it was Kenji's ending thing, I think, then Shizune, and then Lily. In that particular order, we went through this visual novel, and it was great. Okay, this music might distract me a bit, you know. Let's go with something else. Let's have a look. Go with that one, why not? So, just how do I recall in my memory every route? Because it spanned a year, this LP has, and that's quite a long time. Actually, this music makes me think of Emmy now when I think about it. Going right back to the start here. That scene where Hisao was awake and she was sleeping next to him, and she like called out for her father in her sleep, and this music was playing. It's just like now, because I'm trying to think back to Emmy's route. Emmy's route was pretty nice. It had a bit of an awkward kind of bit in the middle of it, you know, with those scenes where it kind of felt like, what the hell's going on here? And then suddenly it's like, oh, here's plot right back in your face, suddenly, and like, everything kind of got all tense and shit, where Emmy was deliberately avoiding him. Can't quite remember what was the reason for that. Well, it was, yeah, I remember. It's because she didn't want to get too close to people because her father had died in an accident that caused her to become amputated. And she continues because to push herself with her running, because I think that was her shared interest that connected her with her father, essentially. So yeah, that route had a bit of the feels, but every route had a bit of the feels, didn't it? Where it's like, BAM! Emotions. Yeah, Emmy's route was pretty nice. Long ago, though, so I have to really think back to it to remember it. It also had Emmy's mother appeared in that route, obviously. So yeah, it's like some characters just like have more of their family involved and most don't. Like, moving on to the second route then, that we did, Rin's. I mean, we only vaguely heard about her family, we never got to see any of them. Instead we got, what was his name? The art teacher, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's just like, you got that guy and you got his friend at the gallery. So those are the only other two different characters introduced in that. Aside from the CG that shows like the art club. And speaking of which, we see one of Isao's classmates that we don't really interact with at all. We see him in the CG in the art club. So Rin's route. You know what? This freaking music reminds me of Rin's route as well now. It reminds me of that scene where Rin shows up outside of Asao's room, just like completely soaked, and like they have an intimate moment afterwards. After he's like dried all of the, you know, because she's drenched by the rain essentially. So that's what this reminds me of when it comes to Rin's route. Rin's route was pretty different to the other routes. It had a very, like, the relationship between Rin and Asao was, like, very different to the other characters. Every character had their own kind of different way with the relationship with him, but Rin was kind of more aloof, obviously. Which kind of added a kind of neat difference in her routes. Also, a neutral ending was probably one of the most depressing, bittersweet endings ever. That CG, the music. Was it this music? Yeah, this music played in that scene. And it was absolutely beautifully bittersweet. And her actual ending, what was the music I played in her actual ending? Yeah, I think this music played. So, their relationship was a bit kind of like, got off to a kind of, well actually it felt like the relationship never really went anywhere for the most part. It was kind of like all over the place, wasn't it? It was a very different route, I kind of liked it. It was kind of different though, very different to how the other characters' routes would play out. Because, well, Rin's personality is very different to all the other characters. Then I suppose with that, we move on to Hanako's routes. Right, Hanako. As I stated before, I'd even, you know, back when I first started helping this, I hadn't played through Shizune's or Lily's route, and I'd said Hanako's route was my favorite route. Now I'm not entirely sure what route is my favorite, honestly. I can't quite pinpoint a favorite. Hanako I still think is my favorite character, maybe followed by Lily, or closely tied. And we'll get to favorites and all that later. Let's just go over the route. So, with the development between their relationship was kind of also a slow, gradual build as well. Like, Iwanaka was kind of withdrawn from pretty much anyone aside from Lily and her sister. So we kind of see her gradually kind of develop as a character, you know, kind of like opens up a bit more to Asao and tries to be a bit, you know, more sociable and kind of do things like everyone else. Like, scene that springs to mind for me is that scene where she has a panic attack in the classroom. I think that's another scene where I can really relate to her. I mean, that's kind of the whole point why I end up being taught at home, is because of my anxiety. So I can definitely relate to Hanako's character with the anxiety. She's got anxieties over different things, obviously. Her anxiety is about her scarring, and obviously she's also depressed and feels like she puts the blame on herself for what happened to her parents when they died in the fire. So, reminds me of a certain other character from a certain other visual novel that I've LP'd, but I won't say anything more than that. You'll get who I'm talking about if you've seen it. But yeah, similar to that in a way. I liked Hanako's route. It felt shorter playing it in the LP than it did when I originally played through it. But I liked it, and yeah. There was also that moment where she just flipped out at Asao because she felt he was looking down on her, so she was like, "Get the fuck out," essentially. So that was certainly a different one. I'd never seen that one because I'd never got her bad or neutral endings or whatever. Still got a cold, by the way. And then there was the scene that turns it all around. There was also a birthday. Can't forget. Well, I did technically forget to mention that. It was also nice with her relationship with Lily and all that. It felt like, you know, like how, for example, with Emmy and Rin, they're friends, but their relationship is kind of like they're friends, but with Lily and Hanako, they feel like they're family in a way, kind of closeness. And then Misha and Shizune, for example, feel like sisters in a way, completely inseparable sorts. But anyways, getting back to Hanuko's route, there was also that scene that turned all around where, like, after Lily went to Scotland, Isao and Hanuko decide to go into town, and he buys her, like, something for her phone, and, like, he's just like, well, that's what friends do, right? Give friends gifts whenever, you know? Doesn't matter if it's a special occasion or anything. And then, like, that's kind of like the turning point and all that, sort of, that kind of gets you on the good route. And then, like, Isao eventually shows her his scars, and that makes her kind of, like, more understanding and, like, more accepting of Isao and all that and stuff. And then they end up becoming closer, and then, once they do, I remember that scene, this music was playing as well, where she kind of broke down crying outdoors, and Isao just hugs her, and she's just, like, really emotional. Then they have one of those scenes, obviously, at some point. And then we got where, like, they're out in public and she just kisses him randomly. I mean, in that route, come to think of it, we didn't even see Lily return from Scotland. It all happened that quickly, I suppose. So yeah, Hanuko's route was pretty nice. Now, moving on to Kenji, because we're going in order here. Kenji didn't really have a route, it was more of an ending, really, wasn't it? We're kind of like seeing him kind of flipping out on the roof drunk, just kind of going on about things. You really kind of like get to know his character a bit better. I mean, in all the characters' routes, we get to see more of him. Like, we even get to see him take off his glasses in Shizune's route, and it feels like it gives him a different personality, sort of temporarily, while he's got the glasses off. But in his ending, it's just like, it's kind of a weird thing, just like kind of amusing, but also kind of sad in a way. And then he unintentionally gets Isao killed when he, like, closes in on him and he falls off the roof. So yeah, that was kind of a bad ending, wasn't it? But yeah, Kenji's character is pretty interesting, and it's kind of like, the way they develop him, just like, each character's routes, you see a little bit more of him. So I guess it kind of makes sense why they have different scenes with him in all characters' routes. I mean, he's just a secondary kind of character, but it's nice that they kind of develop him a bit. Same with Yuko, and it feels like maybe they were in a relationship at some point. But we never really get a confirmation or resolve to that. But it's kind of neat. Now, moving on to Shizune's route, I guess. Let's actually change the music to something different. I guess we'll go back to this one, just going back between the two. So, Shizune's route. I'd never played through Shizune's route, so I didn't know what to expect, and I was kind of like, it was pretty decent. In fact, this music, as I said, kind of reminds me of it a bit. But, like, yeah. Like, how did the route even begin? I remember it was at the Katawa Festival, wasn't it? When, like, Sao confessed his feelings to Shizune and she accepted. I'm not sure if he was learning sign language at that point or whether it was later on. I think it might have been later on. So, I can't quite remember, really. But yeah, their relationship was kind of interesting. And it was kind of interesting, like, with the reveal of Shizune's family. Remember that priceless moment when we met Hideaki for the first time? And I was pretty much exactly like Isao and thought that it was a girl. He's like, what? That's a boy? What the fuck? Trap? Just like, and her father being a complete dickhead, and her being related to Lily and Akira was an interesting twist as well. And the scenes when they were, you know, when they went fishing and all that, it was kind of nice. Kind of like see everyone just interact with each other. See, like, all their personalities and how they kind of, like, I don't know, it was kind of nice. And then when they eventually did return to the school, though, I think I recall the mood kind of shifting kind of weirdly at that point. It felt a bit all over the place after they got back to the school, if I recall. And then eventually it kind of like was like, it's like the plot was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, she's in it. It was because like, I can't remember what it was. Was it like, it felt like it was focusing on different characters at some point? To the point where it's like, this is Shizune's route, right? Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. It might have been. But yeah, her route felt a bit all over the place after they got back to the school. And then like, there was that scene where Misha kind of reveals that she had feelings for Shizune. That was kind of a twist for me. I was not expecting that. So that was kind of interesting as well. And then how Sao was trying to like put the relationship back together, get them back on good terms with each other and stop ignoring each other and all that. So that added a bit of tension to it. But overall, it's just like, I remember like, just like a friend tell me like about like the routes, because when he played through it, just like said, Shizune's route is kind of like the least impactful one or something. I can't remember the wording exactly, but you get the idea. It's like, it doesn't like have the same kind of impact as the other routes. I kind of agree. It had its moments, but like, it also had its moments where it was kind of like, where are we going with the story here, you know? It's like when Shizune revealed her ambitions for the future, it kind of felt like more like, is this really what she wants to do, or is it just something she's chose to do simply because she doesn't know what to do? It felt more like that rather than, yeah, I'll do this because I want to. It felt more of, yeah, I'll pursue this career because I can, I guess, rather than I want to. It's more of I can, or potentially whatever. So I kind of felt a bit kind of, I don't know. And then that scene where they kind of pose, I suppose that was kind of nice right at the end. So that was kind of neat. And with that, move on to Lily's route. Lily's route was kind of pretty good. How did Lily's route start? Lily's route started with... Ah yeah. When it's at the festival where the fireworks were going off and Sao asked if he could hang out with him. And so that was kind of a nice little kind of way of starting the route. From then on, it was, to be honest, I'm trying to recall. The thing is, it'd be much easier, you know what? Screw it, I'm gonna do that anyway, even though the music will change to Persona. Let's actually have a look-see. Earl Grey, recovering from the day before. Ah yeah, I remember that. When he eventually asked her about that and she revealed that she was Scottish. Then there was Hanako's birthday. I think Esau and Lily obviously went into town looking for the present for her, and that's when Esau also bought the music box for Lily as well. I said the day after. Oh yeah, they also got drunk, didn't they? Oh yeah, they woke up and she had a hangover or something. Yeah, that was pretty random. So Lily gotta get some groceries, and he kind of like, in a way, took Hanako's place of essentially guiding her through the place, I guess. Shared lunch, yeah, that was when Hanako and Esau, Lily, and Emmy and Rin were all on the roof together. And I think Esau had, like I said, that heart flutter moment briefly, and like, come to think of it, forgetting all about in Emmy's route, he had one of those in that as well. Like, when he actually, not of just like my memories all over the place with this, but in Shizune's route as well, when they were at the festival, I remember Esau had another heart flutter in that scene as well. In Shizune's route, like right before Shizune's route began, I think maybe. And like Misha and Shizune were like from that point kind of like taking it easy on him essentially, and I think like eventually confessed to Shizune, I think at the end of the festival. Or maybe it was before the festival. No, it was definitely during the festival where he had the heart flutter. But again, I don't think he freaking ever told him about his heart condition at all in the routes. Maybe I just can't remember it, but I don't remember it at all. So that's kind of the point, really, isn't it? But it just feels weird, because like in all the other routes, he pretty much tells the characters at some point, you know? And again, I go back to Hanako and Lily, he feels like he's more open with those two characters than any of the other characters. I suppose he's more open with Rin as well, but that's probably because Rin is like got that kind of aloof, laid-back nature that he probably didn't mind as much telling her about it. So yeah, there was also that scene where on the roof where she hugged him as well, Rin did, isn't it? So yeah, figured of all routes. Also, Emmy's route, what was it that reminded me? Oh yeah, he had that heart flutter at some point while they were running, and that was when Emmy started to show more concern in him, I think. But anyway, back to Lily's route. Let's have a look-see. Bon Voyage, that was when they went to Scotland. And then from that point on, if I recall, Sao had a bit of an awkward time trying to kind of like figure out what to do with Hanako once her kind of depression kind of kicked in and she shut herself off from everyone. And he called Lily, and he later on in the route thinks, damn it, I should have freaking talked more with Lily at that time. But all was on his mind for the most part at that point was that one, he misses Lily, but most importantly the call was to kind of like get her thoughts on what to do with Hanako. But Hanako eventually recovered and everything was just peachy keen. And then Lily returned, as well as Akira I suppose, and they decided why not go to the summer home in Hokkaido, and they were just like, yeah, why not? And then they went to Hokkaido and everything was all peachy keen for the first night, I think. Isao kind of fell asleep on the couch, like you do, and then he woke up and they just like were commenting on him, just like, oh, you just like when you were sleeping, we were just like, oh, we couldn't bear to wake you. You just looked so adorable like that, and Isao was like, or something, I don't know. What happened there? I freaking forget. So, Hokkaido, morning work begins. Yeah, it was the next day. That was when he kind of like, they went for the walk, and we never really got to see, like, you know, wherever the town they were going to, because of that. It collapsed, everything went really kind of somber from then on, and then when he eventually woke up, he was wondering where everyone was, and then, like, because, like, they'd obviously, like, they backtracked back to the summer home after he'd, like, collapsed. And then when he woke up, he noticed Lily in the cornfields, and then they ended up confessing their feelings for each other, and their relationship kicked off from there. And it took a month, because, like, that was around about when the October LPs came in, so I put it on hold for a month. And then they, like, I think they had, like, did they? Yeah, they did. They went right into one of those scenes after that, didn't they? Then, like, the next morning, I think they told Hanako about the relationship, and Hanako was happy for them because it's just like felt like they were more of a family and all that. So that's kind of nice. Albert. And then they also had another one of those scenes, I think, in the bathroom. Remember that? And then after that, they caught the midnight train going to I was about to say to and insert place, but I couldn't, you know, because it never says where exactly, you know, Yamaku is. I mean, they say, like, up north for Hokkaido, but that's north side of Japan, isn't it? So it could be anywhere south of that, essentially, couldn't it? Just like where, I have no idea. It's a rural area, but I don't really know much about, you know, the geography of Japan or anything like that. So I have no idea where it could potentially be located. So, like, on the way back from Hokkaido, like, they were just talking about things, and Hanako, as she was sleeping, and, what else? And, like, Sao, like, again, brings into new context after we'd, learned more about Lily, was when he was like, hey, we could do this over the holidays, and she was like, yeah, I'd like that. But little did Sao know at the time that Lily was planning on moving to Scotland to be with her family. So yeah. And then after that, let's have a look-see. Where was that scene? Shared their first night together. Babies, yeah, it's in Act 4. Hopefully make to make us hardly talk between themselves. Yeah, I think he was like, I think he also like straight up told Shizune and Misha that he was going out with Lily at some point in that scene. Suddenly back when actor joins the trio during their tea bar, one of their tea parties. How did that scene go? Man, it's been so long. You know, I'm gonna click on it. Ah, yes. I think this was when Hanako, well, now we know where this music can remind me of. This scene! Chirp, 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 chirp. So, I think this is where Hanako kind of revealed that she was doing her own thing with the newspaper club thing. So that was kind of neat to see Hanako develop as a character a bit more, and, you know, get the whole she's good with computers thing kind of nod, because that's what she does with the newspaper club. So that's kind of neat. Oh yeah, we can't save on this because we're just replaying a scene. So I last recorded on the 8th. Wait, no I didn't. Because I didn't save in the previous recording, did I? Let's just go through this scene. Actually, we got skip mode for that, haven't we? Akira! Skip a scene! Long scenes. Then they kissed, and thankfully didn't go into one of those scenes, otherwise I'd have to edit it. God damn it, now I gotta go back to this. Let's have a look, see what happened after that. It wasn't straight to that, so... Ah, yeah. Their first date at that fancy restaurant. That was kind of neat, and we got to learn a little bit more about Lily, and depending on the choice, the first time we like had Hisao kind of drop the subject about Eonako. Second time he brought it up more, which again, in her ending, didn't really seem like it made much of a difference really, because it doesn't really get brought up all that much. Although maybe because he was able to bring it up with her, kind of influences his choices, I imagine. But everything else kind of played out the same way until that point. Ah, yeah, this was where, like, Sao was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna become a science teacher because Mito and all that, and the science is pretty interesting, and I want to be a teacher like you, Lily, as well, you know, and stuff. You know, it'd be interesting as if they end up teaching at the same school. I mean, imagine that. It's just like, okay, I know your teacher's right, but no kissing or anything while on duty. You don't do that shit. You don't do that shit in any kind of profession, okay? Yeah, that's when she used the blindfold on him, and he kind of like, they were going into one of those scenes, but then Asao's heart flutter again, and things got a bit awkward after that, and she hummed a melody, which I'm assuming was that music box melody, because Hisao comments that it sounded vaguely familiar, but he couldn't pinpoint it, so that's probably what it was. So it wasn't just abrupt kind of like, oh, here she is humming a melody, but you never understand what it is. It's kind of just a throwback to that, isn't it? It's like the music box. Just like, but that was so long ago at that point when I got to that scene. Context. Yeah, that was when Akira revealed, you know, it's kind of weird, really, isn't it? Like, I went through all the other characters' routes discussing them, and I didn't do it in this way. However, time. Bloody hell, I was just thinking that, it's like, maybe, you know what, screw it. Let's have a brief look through these. Yeah, I remember that. Alright, old shot. Sally's almost dragged kicking and screaming around the track. Oh yeah, I think that might have just been when they were being competitive with the running. An apple a day. Ah, I see. Ah yeah, where she's like, well, like, oh yeah, I'll show you what I'm made of. I'm Sonic the, well, I'm not a hedgehog. Whatever, I don't know where I was going with that. So I went to the painted chest of the business and received a lecture. Ah, yeah, I remember that. That was, did they go to Shanghai? Or, wait, no, oh, it wasn't that. I think she was like, kept stealing his food or something and just like claimed to be a pirate or some shit. Yeah, I remember that. So I guess the track as usual, but Emmy is missing. Ah yeah, that's because she continued running even when it was raining. And then when he drops by, it's like, she has to go at her legs for a while, so she can't do any running. And that was pretty much like it was all somber, and then suddenly it kind of went into those scenes a bit, didn't it? Kind of after that for a bit. And then, detached. Just like after that, it kind of felt like Emmy was just kind of like, she was like, alright with, you know, having those scenes with him, kisses and all that shit, but she didn't want to get, like, overly personally attached to him, so she was deliberately kind of like pushing him away at the same time. And then at some point, Esau kind of like, is just like, you know what, Emmy? I'm going to confront you on this shit, but where was it? Was the instant replay? Things finally come to a head at the track. Ah, yeah, I think that was the alternative way of getting to her good rap, wasn't it? Or maybe it was this, saving throw. Things finally come to a head on the rooftop. It didn't happen on the rooftop, though, so this must have been the other one. Or was it Whispers of Past? No, that was leading to our ending. Yeah, she was purposely avoiding you, obviously. I can't quite remember how he actually convinced her, though. Was it instant replay? Let's have a look. Beep, beep. Skip mode. Long scene. What? Serious? I guess it isn't then. They let you have the choices even in this, I guess. Oh, the stone face cracked slightly. I mean, it feels in my ears because the bird's freaking obnoxiously loud chirping. Ah, yeah, it was because he was being pushy about her past and she didn't like that. It's beautiful. This was the alternative way of getting the scene then, because this is the only time that CG shows up. That's one way you can visit it then. Ah, wait. I think the reason why she was convinced is because, one, he decides to kind of like go at her pace, and the fact that he said he loves her. And then it ends. And then after that they visit her father's grave, and Sao comments that, you know, nothing lasts forever, but for as long as he lives, he will be by her side and stuff like that. And then they go back to school, have one of those scenes, wake up, and Emmy's all like, kind of like thanks him for sticking around with her and all that and stuff. So now that we're doing this all over again, we might as well go through Rin's as well. Like, god damn, this recording's going on forever. She also did the mural painting, didn't she? But I think she completed that right before her route begins, I think. I remember her route starting where they kind of just like, I think they were like sat next to each other in the festival and fireworks were going off and all that, and Rin was kind of half asleep and kind of commentating on it. Trying to remember. Ah, yeah, I think it was her, just like, I don't know. Ah, yeah, that's when she, like, drew the, picture of him and was like, you always have this fed up with life look on your face. You know, but when, damn knows this bloody cold is going on forever. So, yeah, they drew the images, and honestly, Sao's portrait of her wasn't all that bad. Kenji lends a borrowed book to Sao. A borrowed book. What was that book, Kenji? Kenji! So let me retrace for what's the book? Book! Book! Face! Book face. That scene was pretty brief, wasn't it? What was the scene even about? I forget. Well, he's obviously, well, that goes back to this, really, doesn't it? Wait, no. It says, lack of them. Ah, yeah. That's when he was trying to get good at drawing and all that. And they were like, hey, what are you doing there? And he was like, I can't draw with shit, even though he's not that bad at drawing, honestly. I mean, like me, for example, I can draw. I mean, obviously. Have you seen any of my freaking drawings? Pretty much say that. Like, sometimes I get some of it wrong, like the positioning. Like, sometimes I'll draw the eyes in the wrong spot. Because you know how a lot of people, like, will just kind of draw a circle or some shit, draw lines and all that. I don't do that, so it makes it more difficult. I don't even, like, put a ruler there or anything to kind of, like, keep it in line. So really, the fact that I can draw at all and have it look decent is, like, ridiculous. But with me, when it comes to drawing, unless I'm looking at a drawing for reference or an image of any sort, I usually can't really draw. I can, but it kind of helps, and I'm mostly used to drawing kind of portrait kind of drawings. You know, like a full body shot, for example, is like something I'm not very good at. Like, see that right down there? Emmy doing that, kind of running there. that's the type of drawing I wouldn't be able to draw because, well, I could if I was looking at a drawing or an image or whatever. But otherwise, I wouldn't have a clue how to go about it. I can't draw limbs quite that well. I can draw the face, I can draw like the upper body, and that's it. Just like legs, arms, hands. Well, I have drawn hands and stuff before. It's just I'm not very good at, you know, like drawing them from my own mind, essentially. I can do faces and all that, but that's it. So yeah, that's that, and like he's like all kind of focused on what Rin thinks about his expressions, and he's just like, do I really look depressed all the time? That's why he was looking in the mirror in that CG. Brief musings with Yuko about books and Yamaku. I think that was when he returned the books that Kenji had quote-unquote stole from the library. Target audience, the day of the track meets. That was when they were, you know, watching Emmy doing her racing and stuff, and as Rin put it, it's where Emmy is at her most Emmyest. So that was kind of neat. We're 30 in an hour in the Malays, like about during a club meeting. He went on that ridiculous lecture about art. You know what? It's just like, makes me think of Bob Ross. And like, how like, when it comes to Bob Ross, loads of people like him because he's just like, he seemed like the most chill, down-to-earth guy ever. Just like, we don't make mistakes here, we just have happy accents. He had that really soft-sounding voice, and he was like, very positive. He's like, and his way of painting was like, I've never actually painted along with him. I am kind of tempted in a way, but I haven't got paints or anything for it. But the way he kind of like paints it, always felt like he's kind of painting the same kind of things a lot of times. But to the point, like, loads of people like him because he's just like, he's down to earth and he just wants people to enjoy the joy of painting and all that. But like, an artist like, say, Nomoya, for example, is more that kind of traditional kind of like, I've worked my whole life to this career, and this guy just takes the lazy man's way. Preposterous, lame, shite, your art sucks. You know, that kind of elitism kind of shit. That's how I see Nomoya's character. He's probably that type of character. He's like all snooty and all like, no, this has to be absolutely perfect. Rin is clearly a prodigy of sorts, or whatever the word is. She has a lot of potential, damn it. You know, kind of like that kind of personality going on with him. So he was like ranting about art there. Underwater and Maple with a name. That was when Rin took Hisao to the worry tree. Kind of reminds me of Bob Ross again. This is such a shame I didn't know about Bob Ross when I was freaking going for that route, because the Bob Ross reference that I could have made would be off the charts. Like that one comment she makes. I remember like editing together clips for the New Year video, and I didn't actually use the clip, I don't think, but there was a clip where she like mentions like after Sao asks her, what, you talk to a tree when you're worried? And she was like, what? Just like, I don't talk to a tree, what do you think I am, crazy? Just like, Bob Ross, just like, you don't have to be crazy here, but it helps. Go outside, talk to a tree. Shoot, you're a painter, people expect you to be a little crazy. It's just like, really does. I could have freaking referenced Bob Ross if I knew of his existence at that point. That was just perfect timing, that would have been. That was when the letter arrived, as it usually does in every route. Yeah, Sal was kind of pushy with that. He's just like, no man, pursue this. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Everything in the rain, I'm sitting up in Shanghai. How did this scene play out? Are you sure you want to go? The weather forecast that it'll be rainy today. Whoa, it's with my voice there. So what are they going into town for? We aren't made of sugar. We're made mostly of water. Oh, and the rain came down in the shadowy gray sky. Oh yeah, they did it differently. It's like with Emmy's route where they go for a picnic, but instead, well, they both in both cases they end up going to Shanghai, but this time they didn't even get the picnic started. Into the cafe! We are moving to the side there for a bit there, didn't we? Yes. Was there any development in the scene? Well, obviously, but what type of development? Look at that cake! Now it is gone! Ha 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 ha! Insolence indeed! Oh wait, this was when Sao and Rin walked in the rain, wasn't it? And she comments that she liked the rain, and she's like, what's so great about it? And she's like, everything. Right there, see? Everything. And he kind of like continues to wonder, it's like, I don't understand this girl. So, how have your time at this point? Bloody hell, look at that! An hour 30 minutes. You know what, it's always going to be split into 2 or more parts, and I'm wondering how it will title it. Will it be like part 150 something? Or will it just be final part 1 of 2 or 3 or some shit? I think I might have it like part 150 odd something, you know? Because really it's dragging on.